We have sound. All right, I'll close the door actually. If you feel the AC turn off, just let me know.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go turn it back on.
Gucci.
All right, so welcome to the podcast, Chilling with Iceberg. And tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Robert Anthony Duran. Everybody calls me Bobby. My rap name was Bobb D's back in the day. I've come a long way, man. I'm 43 years old. Definitely had my share of trials and tribulations growing up. A little hard upbringing in the ghetto. But it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And I think my trajectory is going pretty good right now. As far as where I came from, single parent house, latchkey kid, always did my own thing. Played basketball with all the bigger kids all the time. But I always got exposed to like more adult environments and atmospheres as a kid growing up. So I really grew up early, kind of had to in a way.
Yeah, matured early.
Yeah. So I always look at things from a different perspective than a lot of people, I think, because like just the way I see things from my perspective and my point of view. But I'm a very humble person, very appreciative and helpful towards people that I look up to. And, you know, even with the haters, dude, like you can't win them all. You know what I mean? So I just do me. I just focus on what I can do and how I can attribute to better people and helping out anywhere I can. That's really who I am.
Talk a little bit about the rap. You said you used to rap.
Yeah, so my whole childhood was all about like hip hop. Like I'd say my sophomore year in high school, I'd see people always like rapping on the lunch breaks and just battling each other, like rap battle. So for me, it was pretty easy transition to your mama jokes to rap battling. And I always was in the back of the bus, you know, on the football team, and all we do was talk shit. It was just a way of life. Like the way in our culture that you show appreciation is like your Theo roasting you at the
busting
freaking
your balls.
barbecue, you know. So I knew at an early age I had to come with it, you know. So I was always quick with it, always come back. So the rap battle just kind of like sunk right in, and it was crazy when I moved to Chico, Chico up north. It was right after the 8 Mile came out. So there's none but like white dudes out there that thought they could rap. It was fucking hilarious. And me just being like analytical and very much a lyricist and always writing. Dude, the way I got into writing, I gotta say, was fucking poetry. Low key. In like junior high, the first time I wrote a poem, and it was for my homie. He paid me $5 to write a poem for his girl. And I always thought like I could be like a singer, like an R&B singer, because I loved R&B when I was a kid. So I'd write all these baby songs and stuff like that. And as a kid, that's just what I did. I don't know why, but you know, it was just the way I gravitated to. It was just writing. You know, I was very a creative writer. Like, I sucked at grammar, but I could write the shit out of some fucking stories. You know, it didn't make sense with the words that I used sometimes. But yeah, man, I started writing poems, and then like my homies liked that shit, and they're like, "Hey, write something for my girl." So then it was like a little side business, just writing poetry for them to get chicks. And then from there, it just started turning to my metamorphosing into like battle rap, and then just rapping in general. And all my homies had studios or were DJs, and it was like I'd go to house parties. And on the east side, like once they know you have a skill or a talent, they want you to go do it at the party. So I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna come by and be the MC. You know, you got a DJ," and they're like, "Oh, can you do like a birthday song?" I was like, "I'll do a birthday rap." So I would do like the 50 Cent, "Go Shawty, it's your birthday." And then I would do a freestyle, and I'd use their name, and I'd use the place, and I just input stuff. It became like a party trick sometimes, where I would just have a bunch of stuff on the table somewhere, and I would just pick up the item and start rapping. And that was like practice for us, you know, because like I said, all my homies were DJs. My homies would like leave their turntables and stuff. So like it was nonstop. Music was in my life. So I thought this is what I want to do. But then fast forward, and then it's like in the music industry, you really got to know people. Like you have to know somebody to get in the studio. You got unless you're doing your own studio time. But back then, I was too broke. I couldn't just buy stuff. So here I am, like this. I shit you not. My first big homie who was a producer was a tweaker. He would he would chase the dragon, you know, burn on the fucking foil and chase that shit with a straw. And it was DJ Kool-Aid. Shout out to DJ Kool-Aid, man. I remember one time I saw him on a flyer. It was a DUI class. He like did something with the drunk driving and shit. But yeah, man, that fool would always let us do like our little hip hop stuff. We make mixtapes. Me and my cousin Rudy. My cousin Rudy was older. He's like 4 years older than me. So he really put me up on game as far as like the hip hop scene and stuff.
How many mixtapes did you put out?
Bro,
So can someone find a mixtape, or do you keep it and you post it? Like,
low key, we had so many mixtapes, but when my cousin was with this chick, fucking Sarah, dude, they all were there. Like they were all at her house. And then when they broke up, like we literally tried to think of a way we could break in and steal back the tapes. So there are tapes out there. And I mean, there's a lot of tapes of like shitty ass raps. They exist. What's sad though is when I hear people use my rhymes. And like that was a shitty rhyme that I knew I wrote.
I was gonna ask you, do you have a line that you're proud of?
What line would I always go to, man? Shit. Back in the day, it was all about
Did you write a lot? Did you try to like? Were you more of a lyricist, or were you like trap music, or?
I was a lyricist because
Or
Nas,
all love songs, all
Nas,
baby girl songs.
Nas was my favorite rapper, so I was lyrical, you know. And it wasn't just one rap or something. I'd say it would be like concepts. It'd be like, you know, like for example, how Nas did the car the gun when he shoots, and he talks about how that goes, and he goes into the whole backwards way of it.
Yeah. That's dope.
That was
That's
the
a
kind of
dope-ass
shit
song.
that like intrigued me, you know. So I would try to like bite that shit, but do it about like going to the swap meet and make it something stupid, and just kind of break it down in that
Really,
way.
you could do that with any rap song.
Yeah.
You just do it backwards because it rhymes anyways.
Yeah. It's just another form of expression, and that's really what it was all about. You know, it's just me expressing myself because I had so much to say, but no one to fucking listen. So I'd write it down or I'd spit it in a fucking rhyme, and it get recorded. But when it came to the battle rap, it was more like me finding my identity because it was just machismo shit. You know, like mano a mano. And the first rap battle contest was in Chico that I entered, and it was like fucking 1,000 white dudes and like 3 black guys. Yeah, and I made the the quarterfinals. Yeah, I made the quarterfinals, so I made it through like a few rounds. There's a white dude, and I shit you not, he had a Buffalo's Bills jersey and a Padres hat. So I just went off on him, like the boy I love losing Super Bowls, and you know he represents losers, and it was just fun, man. Like I didn't even know nobody, and I didn't realize like you had to bring a crowd to win those type of things. So for me to even advance that far, like I knew it was pretty dope. Because I didn't know anyone in that industry, in that scene back then.
Is the struggle to be an MC similar to the struggle of being a stand-up comic?
Absolutely.
What are some of those similarities?
So, for one, finding your voice, finding,
True,
you know,
yeah.
who you are. That was the first thing for the first year I really wanted to focus on as a comedian. Because transitioning from hip-hop, you know, stage presence wasn't the problem. I could always go on stage and I felt comfortable.
You grab your dick. You've been doing that for a while.
Exactly. So I make myself at home on stage. But to transition to rap funny to comedic funny and timing, that's where I was really working on it. Because I was just a storyteller at first. I would just go up there and ramble and then have a punchline at the end. I didn't know what the fuck a tag was. I didn't know how to like, you know, a premise. I would just go. But then it was like the similarity was really like finding my voice, finding who I am, and a better way to like channel that, you know. And my presence would just, when in doubt, I could just fall back on entertaining. Like I may not even be funny sometimes in the beginning, but I could just entertain you, and you would be like walking away thinking, "Damn, that dude was freaking funny," even though I didn't say anything really funny, but I was just talking about funny topics, you know. So that was really the similarities really came in. And man, it was just like coming to Jesus when I realized like how to formulate jokes. You know, it's like the whole world opened up. Like it felt like I could put any topic or any situation in this meat grinder of making jokes, and it would come out like ground beef. You know, perfectly ground joke right there. Yeah.
Where do you see comedy going for you? You say because you know you just recently started, kind of pushing forward full time with it. In the next year, do you have any plans as far as jumping on shows out of town, starting your own YouTube channel, your own TikTok?
Yeah, I definitely want to. This year, I'm really focusing more on my social presence. Excuse me. I don't have a YouTube as of yet, but I do have a TikTok. So the TikTok's really showing me a little bit of how that goes. But the YouTube will allow me to do different things, I think, too. So I definitely want to do that and like kind of build like a portfolio of like all my good stuff so
Yeah.
I can start shopping myself to booking agents, talent agents. But I don't really want to go like commercial and just like get a fucking an agency. I don't think I'm worth that yet. But I want to learn the ins and outs myself. Like eventually I'll pass it on to somebody to handle the business side, but I want to know the ins and outs of it first,
Yeah.
you know? And then as far as touring, that's like the goal. Like I hear that one of the podcasts when Tom Segura was on and he was talking about how like this was the busiest year he did. And he did 185 dates out of 365 days a year. And I'm just thinking like, man, that to me, some people may think that's horrible, but to me that's like a dream come true. You know, I got a 20-year-old daughter, so I don't have to be home all the time. I'm not tied down to a relationship. So I can really fully indulge into this whole comedy scene. And that's where I'm at now is I just want to push to where I can start being a regular touring comic. I see these guys with posting their tour dates and everything, and that's ambitious right there for me. You know, and that's goals that I like seeing guys doing that because it lets me know that it's possible. And I got a good buddy of mine in LA, Renee Vaca, who's a great up and coming comic. He's got thousands, millions of views on his TikTok. And I don't even know he's got a YouTube or not. So that lets me know like where things are at kind of in a sense. Like YouTube used to be huge, but I know there's still a platform that needs to be addressed too. But I see people using this TikTok. Like how many comics you see in comedy clubs that are just TikTok guys learning to be comics? It's crazy.
I think I've seen kind of both sides of it. I've seen some of the older people incorporate it and get more notoriety. Bobby Lee's one of the most, like, I could say, everybody loved the dude. Who doesn't know who the motherfucker was? But I wouldn't tell you that I knew what he was up to at any time. But once he started doing the podcast, and I just was like,
Yeah.
oh, consuming it, and then, and I'm not gonna lie, if that motherfucker jumps on another podcast, I'll fucking watch that shit too.
Yeah.
I fucking, I have my podcast that I like to watch and I learn a little bit about them. But I definitely, Bob Lee is one of those people who had he not tried to get a social media presence, I don't know where the fuck that fool be at. I mean, he talks about how he was struggling, bro. That he was just kind of accepting that he was not gonna be well off as a comic, and wasn't liked. He was all depressed and shit. And now, like, fools on top of the world, they're talking about he's banking, bro. He's banking money like a motherfucker, just doing his shit. And he's doing what he always did. He's not doing nothing different. He's not trying to be more. If anything, he's trying to bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, you open up more doors when those new avenues and the social media platforms, by far.
And I have seen the side that you're talking about of people marketing their TikToks about their comedy and getting those bits in there. And those are nice because they're nice and edited, right? It's just your 5 seconds of attention, or your 15, 20 second, maybe a minute of your attention. That's cool. But give that fucker 15 minutes and see how many ums and dead air there is, but
Yeah.
and they get better. Everybody gets better if you keep trying, that's all it really is. So I think some people just have a distinct sense of humor that is only funny to certain people, whereas like it's really funny. But there's definitely those people who like, you're like, what? Like, what the fuck?
I've been in comedy clubs and the dude that's had like million of followers and shit, and he just fucking sucked. And I get he can bring people in the door because the whole process of bringer shows and all that stuff, which I get. There's that side, but I think you really should dedicate yourself to being a comedian, not just like a figure. Being a figure or a persona is only going to carry you so far, but you gotta really put in that work and time. And I see people doing it. I see a lot of guys that are just comedics on TikToks, but then they actually put in that work. I never thought Jamie Kennedy was a stand-up comedian. Like,
really?
Yeah, like when I was like, he was a movie guy. And then one day it's like, oh yeah, he's doing stand-up comedy, which kind of made sense. But then when I saw him perform, like, it's a different type of comedy. Like, he's really an entertainer. Yeah, you can go up there and tell jokes, but you can
Just
also
high energy or what?
Yeah, and then interaction with the crowd. It was a totally different style, but it was hitting. And I just saw like, okay, there's different ways of doing this. You don't just have to just be the dry humor or this and that. There's so many different variations of comedy, and that's what the beautiful thing is about. Like, I can create this new thing and it doesn't have to just be pigeonholed to like one category. Like there's so many different areas I could hit.
Where do you? Here, I think I got a better call. I was gonna ask you where you like get your inspiration from, but um, yeah, let's start with that. Yeah, yeah. Where do you get your inspiration for your comedy?
Inspiration for my comedy would be, well, growing up in Living Color. That's where it
Mm.
all started. That's where like I would beg my mom to let me stay up. I think it was like 9 is when it started. So 8 o'clock was my bedtime when I was little. But I just loved staying till like 10:30, I think, how long the show went. And it was just like an eye opener for me. When I saw Jim Carrey doing fucking Fire Marshal Bill, Vera DeMilo, praise the Lord, the pot's been lifted. Like all these different characters. I didn't know about Saturday Night Live back then. I didn't know about Johnny Carson, Tonight Show. Like that wasn't prevalent to my world. But seeing Damon Wayans and Keenan Ivory Wayans and all these guys, Handyman, like all these characters, it showed me what comedy is in my eyes, and all these like personas and these big freaking people, energies coming through the fucking TV. I would reenact these guys. I can impersonate literally almost every character on that damn show. Wanda, I used to do that shit to the fools and they get mad. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Oh my goodness. And fools be like, stop that shit, fool. I'd be like at a house party doing that shit, just fucking with guys. Oh man.
What I had this next question. I know. So where you get your inspiration from, and then also, do you do research when it comes to your comedy, like whether it be the subject or a style of comedy, maybe even like writing? I buy comedy books,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll skim them, and I'll see kind of like the concept of trying to come up with ideas. One of my favorites is like word association. So if you have a joke already, and then you just kind of want to fluff it or extend it to like those 3 parts or something, however you
Right.
want to do your little formulas that people try to give you and shit. I think like threes are what people like. But anyways, um, you can do that. You can just kind of oh fuck, I had a brain fart. Fool. Was I talking? What was I saying?
Yeah, as developing your style and
Oh, yeah. So like, do you
researching.
do you do what kind of research have you done?
As far as research goes, I watch a lot of interviews when they talk about like how they started or their train of thought when they do it. As far as reading books, I'm not a heavy reader, bro. I'm
No.
really not. I've tried to read stuff, but really, it's just trial by error is more so me than anything. And I kind of like coming in fresh, not knowing everything. Like when I found out what a tag was, or like like a little pre joke before the main punchline, little tidbit jokes is what I was calling them at the time. I didn't know what a tag was, but now I analyze comedian stand up. So like when I watch stand up now, like I'm breaking it down like film, like it's film class. So that's where I really learn. Like okay, like Andrew Schultz, for example, I call him like the king of tags. He gets it to a point where you don't even know where the main punchline is. There's all these jokes filtered in, and it's like, pick one. I got so many for you. Do you think is the main joke? There really isn't a main joke in a lot of his stuff. It's just like this whole huge bit of roaring and laughter up.
I saw his last special.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about buying it, and I was like, you know what? It's gonna have to go out at some point somewhere. So I didn't buy it, and then it came out on YouTube for free. So
Mm-hmm.
I watched it. I'm glad I didn't buy it. I mean, it wasn't bad. I'm not saying it wasn't funny. I'm just saying the marketing for it
Yeah.
was fucking way like high expectation for what I ended up seeing.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do.
Well, yeah,
The
that's
good,
their job.
only
But
the
like, but
good
now
bits.
I'm like, fuck this guy. I'm definitely never buying any of his shit. Like I know not to buy his shit, and I can just wait and see what happens here. Wait for it to be on Netflix like 5 years later.
Yep.
I still haven't seen. Um, who Cat Williams did a special.
Haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. He put it on like it was like, I think it was like all black kind of like Showtime or something. It was like their own like channel network or something. But I know it was like geared towards the black community because I remember that was some of the statements that he was saying, that he wanted his community to see it first or have it first or have access to it first, and then he would put it out to everybody. Couldn't tell you what the name of it is anymore. I forgot already, and couldn't tell you if it was good. I haven't never seen it. I haven't even heard anybody talk about it.
Yeah, I will say the thing that I liked about Andrew was a different style of putting it out, where it was pay-per-view based, how he did it like that. I mean, it does take away from the Netflix and the Amazon stranglehold. I'm sorry, but there's so many specials now on all these different platforms. Like you can't keep up. But the way he did it, where it's separate from everything, it kind of added a little extra buzz to it. So I think that really helped as far as getting that movement and those numbers up for him.
Have you pulled uh, jokes or again trying to build your comedy? You said you've watched, you recall the shows you watched growing up,
Hmm.
and then you mentioned the second part. So have you ever looked outside of comedy to try to? I'll give you an example. So um, there was a time when I was doing shows with Lil G, and every once in a while, I try to pick his brain about a joke, or he tell me my joke suck or some shit. Like
Hmm.
it's just something like just to like get like work on this part or something, or
Hmm.
like, or sometimes he would tell me like about doing research, and so sometimes we would just hanging out talking about. Either trying to get to a gig, are we gonna go on a plane? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna go by train, the Amtrak, Greyhound, whatever? Trying to figure out the numbers, the dates, my schedule, and I'm like, we're just doing everything, but we would have like YouTube going in the background. And so one day we were talking about a certain joke, and he's like, "You ever try to be like more animated? Like to really, there's more to the joke than just the lines and the timing. There's also your body language." And I'm, what's the word? Not parenthesizing his. I'm shortening what he said, right?
Emphasizing, yeah.
Emphasizing. Yeah, yeah. There you go. And so he talked about that, and so I was just like, all right, yeah, yeah, I can see what you're saying. He's like, let me show you a couple comedians, So he put on YouTube a couple comedians. And he's like, watch them. And so I remember, and I can't remember the guy's name, bro, but he was this kind of like lanky comedian, kind of really tall. But he starts telling his joke about eating pussy. But the way he's talking about eating pussy is he's comparing it to a cat playing with its prey, So he starts out where he's like telling these other random jokes, right? And then he leads up to that, and then he starts like walking like a cat, like stalking and working its way up. And then there's like a chair, and the top of the chair is kind of what he's saying is the prey or the
Hmm.
pussy, right?
Hmm.
And so he works his way up, and then he gets to it, and he goes pop pop pop. But the way he did it, when it's over, and G was like, okay, what did you see here? What did you see? And I was like, well, he told a joke about eating pussy, and he compared it to this, and he's like, but what did you think about his? And he was like, I was like, that motherfucker looked like a cat. Like when he was acting like a cat, I was like,
Yeah.
motherfucker look like a cat.
Yeah.
He didn't have no looks, whiskers and shit. No, he was the way he was moving his body, and he looked over to like the camera and the
Hmm.
angle, and then he just waited, and he just the personality of a cat, like, and he goes, "You think he just did that shit? That motherfucker sat there and watched his cat for a minute, bro,
Hmm.
and thought about that shit." And so he's like, "Think about that and put it into your comedy." And I'm like, "Oh, okay," you know. And we would do that with like different stuff. So if I had like a random questions about like different styles of like a callback or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
or if I had like talk like I've noticed people do this, and he would one thing that I after he started, I wasn't like I was always like learning stuff from him, but I definitely was always picking his brain about certain stuff. Um, one of the things, oh fuck, I'm so excited to say that I fucking spaced out what I was trying to say. Um, oh, another thing. So when we would do these shows, right? Obviously, he has like a higher notoriety, right? So these are like a little bit more known comics from, and so I'm seeing people that I used to see on Comic View and shit, just fucking in the green room, just like, who the fuck you? Kind of not nobody was ever rude to me, but
Hmm.
people always kind of like give you like side eye and be like, who the fuck is this guy, And then I'd just be doing my thing, and then all of a sudden they'd be like, oh, he's with G, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, hey, what's up, what's your name? I'm like, Iceberg. I was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. You with G? Yeah, all right, yeah, where's he at? I was like, I think he went out to the back. He's talking to somebody. He's like, all right, cool. Tell him I say hi, and I'm Melanie, or I'm blah blah blah, or I'm so and so. It's like, okay, nice to meet you. But I knew who the fuck they were, bro, and I
Yeah.
was like, fucking like, oh,
On the
fuck,
inside.
oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Try not to be a
Yeah,
fanboy.
and she's cool with me. And he's cool with
That
me.
is the
He's not
hardest
being a
thing.
dick.
Fuck.
one of my proudest ones, which you know, people are such fucking assholes sometimes. They can try to pump you up about shit. So who knows if they're true and shit, you know? Especially when you're having a good time, people say random shit. So one time, me and G, we had a show in Vegas, and we fucking, I think it was like last minute. We found like tickets for like $90 round trip. So we jump, bro. We jump in Burbank. We go to Vegas. We go to do a show, and before the show, we go to one of his friends' businesses. He has like a clothing store where, like, if you have a brand, you just send him your clothes and he'll sell it, and then they work out the proportions or whatever, right? And so we go to check out the store, and it's Red Grant, whom you know I've seen on Comic View all the time, is like fucking iconic Gap, and
Yeah.
you know, like the you know, all
Yeah,
that shit.
yeah.
You know, like I remember this guy. Fool, my favorite joke of his was the one that was on Cat Williams special, when it's him, and I think is it Melanie Camacho or something. But they're he's telling his joke, and he pinches the sheets with his butt cheeks.
Yeah.
and he fucking walks and shit. Oh, fool! I remember that shit was so fucking goofy. But anyways, I walk in, and that fool is not going. You know, like he's on his TV talking to Snoop Dogg, like, "Hey, mom, I'm gonna beat you," blah blah. You know, talking back and forth to each other. Like, "Oh, what was that? This and that." And then he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, Luigi's like, "Oh, this is Iceberg, blah blah. This is Red, blah blah." And I'm listening to Snoop Dogg play this fool and shit. I'm like, "This is fucking nuts, man. Like, where the fuck am I, bro? Like, this is fucking crazy." And then all of a sudden, like, Red's just like, "Take a seat," you know, telling me to be comfortable in his place. And I'm just like, this is fucking crazy, bro. But I'm just going to play it cool. And he's like, "Hey, man, you don't have to stay in the front. You just want to go in the back. Just go in the back and chill." I was like, "Am I that ugly or some shit?" Like, you're fucking up my business. We'll get the fuck in the back. And so, like, I go to the back, and there's this dude already looks cool for, like, he's just chilling in the back. He got gold and fucking crazy gold shades and shit. And he's just minding his own business and shit. He's just like doing something. I go back there, and obviously I know he's somebody who doesn't want to. I don't need to waste his time, right? He's on his phone, he's doing shit, he's making calls and shit. So I'm like, I'm not gonna be over here trying to chit chat with some fool.
Right.
And so I just sit there, I'm chilling, I'm on my phone, I'm thinking about the show, what jokes I'm gonna do, if my timing is right. And then the dude didn't really say anything to me, you know, like he was just chilling. And then I think this girl walked by, he told her what to do. And then she said something, and then we all got into like a conversation about what was going on. She was like cleaning, and she didn't want to clean. He was talking shit. We all started talking, bagging on her and shit. We just bullshitted for a little bit, and then fucking excused myself, and I left. I went for a walk and shit. And then when I came back, Luigi was like, "Hey, that fool said he liked you, man. He said you're a cool dude." I was like, it was just like a short, you know, like, you know, bullshit and shit. And then like that fool was like, "He said you were cool, bro." I was like, I didn't really do anything, you know. I just said fucking just minding my own business. And he's like, "Yeah, he liked that shit. He liked that you went in there trying to put a fucking CD in his face and shit. You know, you were just fucking bagging on the girl, just chilling, mind your own business. You weren't fucking trying to sell yourself, trying to fucking dick ride and shit, you know."
Yeah.
He's like, "People don't like that shit, man."
Nah.
And I was like, "All right, that's cool." Like, I'm mostly just shy, you know. I say like 90% of it is just like I don't like bothering people when they look busy and shit. Because even if I'm bored, I'm not gonna like fucking take your time. Cause
Interject and shit. Yeah.
Anyways, I went on a tangent. I forgot what the point of it was. It was just meeting your idols, and then also there was something to it, but I forgot what the fuck.
Yeah, like when like fanboying out, man. That's like the hardest thing not to do, because like I have so much fucking admiration for these people, and I idolize some of the stuff that they do, and they're like, in our heads they're huge, you know. So then you're sitting in the green with them, and you're just like, that awkward moment, like, should I say something? And your inner side's like, don't say shit, just be fucking cool, you know. And then they talk to you like, "Oh my god, he's talking to me." And I just like, I don't know, for me, I'm always gonna be myself, you know, whether you like it or not, that's on you. So I'm never gonna be something I'm not. But usually when I start talking to people, like, real recognize it's real, you know. And that's what I really take from like my interactions with all these big guys. They're just regular people, you know. They started somewhere too, you know. And there may be a day one time where I walk in a room and somebody's gonna fucking lose their shit, and you know what, low key, that'll be kind of dope.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of them are pretty humble. I think people get the reputation that like comics are all fucked up, or like people who with money, or people who came up are all dicks and shit. I would say there are some people who just kind of bitter and shit, and then like you kind of deal with them. But for the most part, everybody's trying to have a good time, trying to hang out.
Yeah, that's what it's all
Everybody got
about.
their own little cliques and things that they enjoy. I was going to talk to you about getting inspiration. So I do sometimes consult with other comedians, right? They kind of give you tips. Um, and so I think I was kind of where I went on tangent too. One of the observations that I made when I was going to these shows was that a lot of the black comedians would do a sound, and so and that could be kind of skewed because I was doing mostly comedy, black comedy shows and shit. So, but one thing I noticed about all the comics was that they were all doing like a bit where somehow there was a sound repeating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it
Mm-hmm.
be like, there's something bumping into something, something getting smacked, like some type of action sound
Mm-hmm.
that just kind of when it repeats itself gets its own little flow,
Yes,
and people like almost you don't even have to tell a joke anymore. If you just make that sound,
they're dying.
they're dying, bro.
You're exactly right. And you know what? I have a bit just like that. It's the smoke alarm bit that I do. And it talks about how, like, one of my biggest bits is my Toxica bit. And it goes into so many different avenues. Like, I can interchange it in all these different ways or different formats that I use. But one part I do is the fire alarm. How when you go to a chick's house or you're on a Zoom call and you got these toxic people that can just block out the sound of the chirp. And we've all seen it, like you're talking to somebody, you gotta go to somebody's house, and you just hear this chirp, chirp. And when I start doing that, by the third time, the fucking crowd is dying. Like, I'm not even saying anything, I'm just doing the chirp. Yeah, you're right. It's crazy.
Yeah, people just it's just one of those things that you learn. I couldn't tell you the science behind it or what the fuck, it's just something that I've observed. It's like the callback, it's just
Yeah.
something that you observe that when this thing happens, it just brings something out of like, oh, like the callback. The callback is a classic of like, oh, like it just adds on to what you've heard before and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's just, yeah.
What's crazy is, like, I haven't done a lot of research as far as that goes, but people have told me, like, some of my sets and stuff have a lot of that already attributed, and it's just naturally formed. But I mean, it's part of creation. And you can tell. Maybe it's just from my experience of seeing people perform. Like, I just attributed what they and kind of metamorphosed into my own style. But yeah, man, there's all these different techniques that I don't even know half of them. But then my home be like, "Did you know you did this?" And I'm like, "No, I have no fucking idea." But I knew that fucking worked and it made
Yeah.
sense. So that's cool.
One thing I learned too was about the different crowds. As much as people don't want to be segregated, there's definitely a segregation in comedy where there's clubs
Yeah.
that are like multiracial. There's clubs that are known for black comics, and so
Or heavy white Trump
or
supporters.
just straight up white. Just because of like the state or the city. Just straight up white redneck stuff or whatever the situation may be. But one thing I learned is that the rhythm that you have is different. In like a multicultural kind of situation, I think it's more just slow is okay, steady. Kind of these even some of the racial jokes are okay, but when you go to a black comedy place, black comedy club, you're it's faster, bro. If you sit there and try to tell a story, no, like no, there has to be like tags and
Mhm.
and a punchline probably like every second, every sentence, just boom 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 boom
Smaller
boom.
attention spans.
There's
too.
something if the joke isn't the words you're saying, the joke is the fucking face you're making or the fucking expression that you're making or the sound that you're making, like you're hitting them with something.
Yeah.
There's no build up to a joke, or it's rare. I would say it's more rare.
I always tell my buddies that are up and coming, like, the first thing that I wanted to do that I learned was when you get on stage, you got to earn their trust quickly. Because it don't take long for them to say, all right, I'm not even fucking involved. They doing other shit. So that first part, when you get going, you really got to win the crowd over. It's that trusting. It's just like when you're telling, like, you're giving a speech or something. You just want to set the premise and get going. But you can't, like you said, you can't wait around for it. It's got to be pretty rapid. And then you can kind of slow down a little bit, but it's got to have, like, highs and lows, though, too. I like it, like, when I think of my buddies when they would rap and they'd have, like, a monotone voice and it all sounds the same. Like, I can't stand that shit. But like you said, you accent certain words, you get more animated. Then it adds more to it.
Cut the fat.
Yeah, and that's really like you said. When those live crowds, I'm trying to be as animated as possible. I'm all over the damn place. You know, even on my one of my toxic parts of my bit, I do this stabbing of the flat screen TV. I do like I jump down and I'm like the girl on top of me. Who the fuck is Sarah? Like all these movements that I do, it really brings the crowd to fucking erupt, man. Yeah.
Um, a lot of the why I did the books was because of those conversations with G, and where I was kind of like, there's shortcuts in this shit. Not shortcuts to success, I would say, but definitely shortcuts in um, finding out your voice. Like not just your voice of like the style of comedy you want, but your voice and how you write your jokes, and you know how you jump on a topic. Um,
Definitely.
that really got my mind going about it, and so I was like, well, I like reading, so let me find a book, right? So I fucking I bought one book by, I think it was Pete Garrett or Jarrett, I can't remember right here, but he had this thing where he like you if you had a joke, and let's say your punchline was, you know, brick to the face or some shit, you know, then he would want you to write down like brick, and then just like everything you associate with the word brick, you know, so
Yes.
red, chalky, dry, solid, you know, just write all that shit. And then in doing that, you're not gonna write a joke,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But you're what's gonna happen is that it'll connect a dot to another joke, or you can like have another joke where you're just like, you know, I'm just gonna, you know, change the name or change like, you know, and just kind of bring it into this other joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely helps with that. And also if you just want to make some shit up and just like, oh yeah, you know, it would be fucking funny if like this, you know, whatever the situation may be. But I went so far on some of the, not just the writing part, and by no means am I like the greatest fucking comedian writing here, right? But I do write my jokes, and I'm not full time. Like I haven't done comedy in, I want to say like 3 years. You know, I've done shows. I've traveled and done shows, but I haven't like sat at a comedy club and go, I think this is funny and bomb, and then go, well, fuck them. You know, I'm gonna fix it. So you listen to the audio and go like, okay, fuck, okay, yeah, I can see where I lost them here. It was too fat. You know, that wasn't even necessary. I don't know why the fuck I even said that part. Like I'm gonna start taking that. I'm gonna take that part out. And then even when you go up to say it the next time, you get to that point, and you're like, okay, I remember that part sucked. I'm gonna jump to the next part. But so that was writing. I started getting into trying to be more animated. So I would look up that comedian, but I can't remember his fucking name right now. It's like Johnson. I can't remember, something Johnson. But anyways, when it got to being animated, I started thinking a little bit out the box, and I was like, who's animated? Like who's anime? Who talks without words, right? One day I told a joke when I was doing a comedy show. I'm gonna rant a little bit. I was doing a joke when I was doing a pussy juice sound when I was fingering this girl, and I just did that. And I was trying to come up with doing the sounds right. So I was trying to do that. What I was telling you, trying to find a joke where I could make that sound the bit. And so I was like, how long could I do that? You know, kind of like what's his name, the Andy Kaufman.
Okay.
Who would just do random shit, you know, read a book. Just read a book and see how long people would stay in the crowd and listen to that shit. And so I was like, how long could I finger bang, you know, or finger fuck this stool? How long can I finger fuck this stool before like either I get the light or people just start like it's not funny, you know, or will it be funny? You know, who knows? It's funny to me.
Yeah.
And I'll do the sounds a little bit different. I'll do different angles and change the sounds, whatever. You know, I was just trying to come up with that shit. And so I was like thinking, how funny can I make it without saying any words?
Gotcha.
So then I started thinking like, who's animated and don't use words? Fucking mimes, bro. So I started watching mimes, and it wasn't really what I was looking for. I was like, it's like that's like, you know, rope in a box and shit. I was like, I'm not okay. Like, watched a couple of it. I was like, nah, that still isn't what I'm looking for. But it's I'm getting there. And so then I looked up this guy. I started looking at clowns, right? So in my search, I started going into like the history of clowns.
Oh shit.
You know, and so like then going back into like the fucking
Fools.
all that shit, right? And it's going back
gestures.
about all that shit and like stand up comedy. And then it goes into like it becomes stand up comedy, blah blah. But anyways, I run into this guy. He's a Russian clown. His name is Slav. Oh fuck, I'm so bad with names. Something Slav. But he fucking his whole thing is miming, but he's dressed as a clown and he does shit with like coats and music and like the breeze of like the snow coming in. He puts on, but it's all facial expressions, bro. There's no fucking words, but you can
Benny
watch
Hill.
that shit. You can watch that shit and
Yeah.
just be like, oh my god. So I was like, I'd watch him, bro. I watch all his YouTube shit. I listened to him talk, and when you listen to talk to him, I thought he was gonna be a fool, bro. This guy was like kick back, philosophical, fucking just chilling. He has this like property where he lets his mind go, bro. If you go to his property, like there's a fucking balloon tower and shit, you know, like
Yeah.
just weird shit. He's like an artist as well, I guess.
What was it? Bean. Bean was another one that wouldn't talk,
Right?
and his animated position was just ridiculous. That took it from Benny Hill.
He was saying stuff without
Saying.
no words.
Yeah, your action by your movements. Yeah, yeah. That's the beautiful thing about comedy. There's so many different variations of it, and you can add a little and attribute a little bit to your shit. You know, your set here and there. You can add. There's so many things you could do with comedy, and that's the thing I like about it. It really is art, because it's like a blank canvas that you're creating. You know, and you're putting all this stuff on there and just seeing what sticks. Sometimes you just throwing shit on the wall, see if it sticks.
Yeah,
Man.
it looks like shit, just whatever. Sell it to somebody. For $5.
Yep, somebody will-
sell it to someone for $5 and shit.
Somebody will like it. Fuck yeah, dog. Yeah, yeah. I'm down for anything. I mean, you want to talk? You want to talk current events? You want to talk about the Iranian shit going on?
Oh, so I was talking to Julian about Russia, right?
Okay.
And I was telling you that I didn't know if I came off as like, why don't you know about your national politics? You know, but it was more of like, for me, it was more of like, I think I told you, like, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, if you're not interested, you don't care. It kind of makes me feel like, okay, you don't suffer whatever consequences. Like, doesn't mean something's gonna happen to you, but like, don't be mad if something you could have been involved to say something about. You know,
Yeah.
no, you know not much you can do about Russia, but anyways, I thought it was an interesting topic to talk about. But I also thought it was kind of cool. Like, yeah, man, if someone doesn't give a fuck, they could just not give a fuck, fool. That's how awesome. Like, it's handled, bro. It's handled. Like,
Yeah.
what do I care about Russia? I'm not gonna do nothing. If he starts some shit, you know, my primo in the Marines, he's gonna take care of it.
Yeah. Tú sabes. Yeah.
And so I was telling him that I enjoy politics, but I don't necessarily enjoy it as in like, oh, I'm a Republican and you know, I have these ideologies and shit. I more enjoy it of like, I have a perception of how to solve certain problems and I agree with a certain fucking group about certain things. But where I get a kick out of it in politics is trying to predict what's going to happen. Being like, oh, these motherfuckers are up to something, and trying to be like, oh, I knew it. They were going to do that. And so I was telling him, like, my biggest thing about Russia isn't like, fuck Putin for invading Ukraine and these, you know, this sovereign nation, all this. Nah, for my shit is like, you dumb fuck. We've put this fucking illusion of you being the grand old fucking Russian bear fucking killer, and we gotta invest in the military, and we gotta fucking have this and that because we don't fucking know. The Cold War never fucking ended. You know, all that shit. And this fool went in there and made a fucking fool of himself. And so now the smokes and mirrors are gone. So, like, what do we do?
No one's scared of him anymore, other than the nukes.
So what do we do? So now we are really our only enemy that we could say like, and I like, is that smokes and mirrors too? China, bro.
Are they really that tough? I think they are. I think China is more advanced as far as technology wise than Russia, because I think Russia.
But is that a part of the illusion that we're taught so that we think like that? But if you were really someone who was like in their Chinese military, or someone who like, you know,
they're like, our planes are trash.
you know, you're
Yeah.
trying to explain to Putin like, bro, I know it's Ukraine and I know it's a little thing, but like, I don't think you can do it.
You think people are going to support the cause if they think they're trash, and we're just going to go up there and mop them up? Of course not. Like
Nah.
Iraq, for example.
It's like
We knew we were going to destroy them. But with like these big powers, it makes people want to join the military. It makes people want to spend more money and get involved because they create this big bad. And I think throughout history, they've always created the big bad. You go back all the ways to like the Roman days. The Persians were the big bad.
the Polak, you know, invading fucking Mexico and shit, you know, starting the fight at the Rio and shit.
I've always been fascinated with history. I was a history buff. So I can go way back. I mean, I would watch ridiculous history, documentaries on YouTube just for
What was
fun.
it? Something you sought, or was it just available to you, so you just ended up liking the topic?
I have a yearn for knowledge. And when it comes to like history repeating itself and learning from history, that's where it came from. Like I wanted to know why we do stupid shit, and I could look back in older times and see, oh, this is why, because we can't get over this bullshit or this perspective that we think we have, like we're better than everybody, when really it's the wrong perspective to have in the world. We really should, like our comedy scene, where I'm like all for the scene. The scene is the reason why we're successful. The more we put into this, but other people want to be selfish. Like I'm the shit. I'm the fucking America. You know what I mean? So it's a direct analogy to fucking in life, in history, and perspective you can get too.
That's definitely a topic that's been reoccurring with some of the comics I've talked to, because, we can call the people the old heads, and we can call the people who are up and coming in the last, let's say, like 2-3 years, as the newer comics. But the more and more comics there is, the more and more drive there's going to be for people to not be greedy, but be like, you know what, like we don't have an open mic on Wednesdays. Let me do an open mic on Wednesdays. Like, man, I can find a mic on Wednesdays, and then find a spot and be like, hey, everybody, I found a spot, bro. Fucking let's do a comedy. Let's go. The only part is like, how's that community? Is that community gonna be like, fuck yeah, we needed a fucking Wednesday mic. I got another day to practice my shit. And there's gonna be other people who are like, nah, bro, I was fucking working on a Wednesday night. Okay, you're working on a Wednesday night, but I got us a Wednesday night. Nah, man. I was like, well, how about I'll do mine at early. I'll do mine like people getting out of work, right? Like 6:30. What time you gonna do yours? Like, nah, man, I got Wednesdays. It's like,
Like you corner the market like it's a
yeah,
monopoly.
and it's like, hey, bro, actually, the best thing for us to have is two mics. That way it's less. We can carpool together, just go for one mic too. Like,
I never understood that, bro. It's I'm just gonna throw it out there. There was a time where we were spoken to by somebody of a figure, and they're like, if you do this mic on this day, you will not be allowed to come to our mic on the same day. And it just was mind-boggling to me, because in LA and everywhere else, you try to hit as many mics as you fucking can, and you have to get that work. So you're basically telling me I can't get better because you're gonna stop me from my reps, getting my reps.
Because you
in.
want me to hang out somewhere where it's not my problem to fucking keep people here, bro. Like
That's your job.
Your job is to keep the audience here. I'm not taking the audience anywhere. You keep them here. You could do another show after that. You could do a second mic, open mic, do something else. Put on some other entertainment. You got them in there, keep them in there, feed them or some shit. But instead, they're like, their concepts is wrong. One thing I'll tell you that I think with the open mics, why people fight so much is that they promote it wrong. They'll go to a business and tell a business how like all these people are gonna come in there and hang out, and it's like, no, that's not how you sell to a business. You tell a business like, hey, bro, your Wednesday nights, or this is what I always told people. What's your worst night? What's your worst night? Fucking dead here, but you're open. Oh, fucking Wednesday, bro. Wednesdays from like 6 to 8. I don't have any customers. I get the drinkers come in at 8.
Yeah.
It's like, how about this? We do the comedy show. Sign up at 6:30. Everybody starts getting in here. It's get a little crowded. People see that it's popping a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the mic people. And then by the time we get the fuck out of there, you've already pulled in what the fuck is going on over there.
Right. You build the buzz.
And so then we get the fuck out of there, and you got them doing. You got your homie sending country music, or you got someone doing, karaoke or something. Do your fucking thing. Why am I fucking traveling to spend all this money in your place and shit? And I don't know why they do that, because nobody fucking pays for anything. I don't think I've ever been to a mic where people were like, hey, bro, let's show this business love and buy all the fucking wings and all the fucking beer. No, people are like, let me get a water because I gotta get on the fucking bus to get to the next mic. That should be the concept of everybody. When I was in LA, that's what I did. I would do 4 to 5 mics every fucking night.
Yep.
And it helped me so much, because I told people I wouldn't even have a set. I would go in the morning, try my whatever I was thinking about while I was at work, or whatever I was talking about on my break, and then go do the joke, fucking cut the fat, what doesn't work, what might work, what can I work on, and go to the next mic. By the fucking 5th mic, I knew I knew it was just not gonna work.
Yeah.
What I'm on to, like, okay, this is like talking about my dad. Dad is people fucking like it. I thought people would get kind of sad to bring the room down, but it's like people won't stop fucking laughing. I kind of feel like an asshole. People laughing at my dad and shit. Like, and then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, people. I try to get into why people like a joke about my dad dead, but I think of a lot of it is just because I'm being so chill about it. I'm making light of like
Yeah.
finding my dad dead, and I have had maybe three people kind of tell me that the reason they were laughing so hard because they would tell me like, oh fuck, I couldn't even hear what you're saying because my fucking girl was laughing or my brother was laughing or my aunt was laughing, and then they go, just they've lost somebody. And then the little tags that I was giving, the little things, even though they were to make the crowd laugh, they were kind of like sentimental things that they had to them. Because there's one joke where I was like, where I was sitting there, I was sitting there and I was laughing, and everybody was looking at me like, why is this fool laughing? He's weird or something, right? But I'm laughing because I'm like, damn, like, where the fuck were all you guys yesterday when I had to lift the fucker up, and I couldn't do it, and I'm struggling to pick him up, and then where the fuck were all you guys? Oh, now all of a sudden you guys could be here on the dime and shit, and when I was saying, hey man, I could use help whenever I can, crickets,
Yeah.
So like to me that shit was funny, bro. So I was just sitting there laughing to myself. But when I make that joke, when I go like, where the fuck were you yesterday? Fucking people laugh and they go, yeah, I felt like that too, man. Like, where the fuck were you? Where the fuck were all these people when I was going through all this shit? But it's so different and subtle that you can just laugh about it.
Yeah, people feel it like it's like part of their DNA. It almost is like it's embedded in them because like they felt something like that, so they can relate. There's been countless times where somebody after the show or after a performance or open mic even, they'll be like, "Damn dog, I felt like I was right there at the house party with you. Like I've been to that house party before, and I'm explaining the situation that transpired." Or I'll say something. He's like, "I felt like I was in the cipher right there with you," because I was telling like the cipher joke and shit. And it's just like it's so gratifying that that moment in time that you felt, that person totally stranger feels the same exact way, whether it's something that relatable to them or just they can see themselves in that situation. I can imagine being there, at that moment. And that's really what I fucking love about comedy, man. It's just like this connective tissue of all of us in some roundabout way. You may think we're completely different in different backgrounds and upbringing, but this one fucking joke we can all fucking relate to. It's crazy.
Do you watch any sports?
I'm a huge sports fanatic. Kobe is better than Jordan. Fuck the Dodgers, man. They're like my fucking worst girlfriend ever. My Titans, they're like another fucking bad bitch that I can't stand, but I can't get enough of. My Lakers, I mean, I'm a devoted lover fan of these teams, ever since I was a kid. So it's heartbreaking, man. Like, I take that shit personal. Like Jordan, I take that shit personal. When fucking last night losing to the Padres, bro, I was fucking pissed. Like, I'm on this huge high, of throwing my show and Good Fools Entertainment going off and this great night. And then I look at my fucking ticker real quick and I'm just like, pinche.
Do you get more positivity since like your teams do bad sometimes, right? And I would think the more sports you enjoy, the more teams that let you down.
Mm-hmm,
And so I'm like, for you, has the sports or the teams that you liked brought you more joy than pain?
Yes. Yes, because the joy doesn't just come from the game or the decision. It's more than that. The joy comes with the community, the people that you watch this with, the people you talk shit with at the water fucking coolers talk type stuff. Like just the camaraderie of being a part of it. And in our own little perspective, we have our opinions. Like we fucking know what we're talking about. And everyone has a fucking opinion, like what should be done. And I don't know. I just think the whole community behind it, I think, is really what the joy is. Not so. Yeah, I love when we win. I love when we score touchdowns or fucking home runs, and that's fucking great. But like, the stories and the experiences around that, that's what really makes it something that I enjoy more than anything.
I just watched the Raiders.
I'm sorry.
I've always felt that it's brought me more joy than
That's rough.
than pain. The most thing I enjoy sometimes is just fucking yelling at the TV. Like even if we're losing and I'm yelling, like it's getting out my aggressions from like the past week. Like
Yeah.
I really don't have to. Which that said, I fucking missed the game. It was at 1 today. God damn. Fucking idiot. I don't even know. Hopefully we beat the fucking. Who were we playing? The Patriots or who do we play?
Mm-hmm.
Titans. We played the Titans.
Yeah, we beat you guys.
You guys won?
That was
Titans
earlier
won?
this
Titans
week.
won?
That was like, I
That
think.
was Monday. That was Monday, and they
No,
have a
it
game
was-
today. They played Monday, and they have a game today.
Well, we played you guys like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
That was a pregame, or that was first game?
No, it was 2 or 3 weeks
Second
ago
game,
we
yeah.
beat you guys. Yeah, that was fun because all my homies are Raiders fans. My family, my grandfather. There's so like growing up, dude. Like everyone, when you're a kid, you get like a fucking sales pitch. My uncle would buy me a Christmas fucking sweater of Cowboys. You know, he wanted me to be, and it's a Letterman's one. So that shit was tight. Sometimes the motherfucker gets cold. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I'm putting this shit on. You know. My Theo would buy me a pullover, you know, a fucking Niners. I didn't never like a red color. I don't know. The red and gold just didn't look good on me. But when I put that Bombers fucking Houston Oilers with the baby powder blue, bro, I look at myself in the mirror and I was just like, damn, that's what I look like right there. And it just felt right when I was playing Tecmo Bowl and I'm the fucking Oilers, you know, and they're throwing all over fools. I remember Tecmo Bowl had an unstoppable play and certain teams had them. The very first one. So you had Chicago to the white boy tight end, I think. The Niners had one in the middle. It was a slant. And then the Oilers had one too, but it was this fucking roundabout, like wheel route. And for some fucking reason, when you threw it on the wheel route, like after 40 yards, the defender would just turn away the opposite direction. So I'd go down the sideline every time.
How deep will your fandom go? Like, are you down to do like gang activity as
No.
a kind of like the hooligans?
Yeah.
You down for hooligan shit?
Like, okay, I think
Like, I shouldn't say gang. That was a kind of extreme.
all right, so like, you know, in England, it's different, right?
Yeah.
Like they have these crews and they
That's
go
what I'm saying,
around and
hooligans,
fuck
yeah,
fools
yeah.
up. Yeah. So from that perspective, no, I don't think.
Shortage of questions in this life. That's
My NPR. My
Yeah,
bad. My
it's all
bad.
good. It's all good.
Fucking NPR.
Yeah. So from that perspective, I could never see myself throwing up the set for the fucking team. But like, I mean, I get it when they're in the parking lots and like they're walking out and you just caught a L. Like I get it. Like these fools are talking mad shit and you don't know how to take it. But really, that's self-discipline. Like more so than anything, like if I want to go into a fight, there's no reason really. I'm wanting to fight that day. I'm wanting to fuck some. There's been shit going on throughout my life or something that brought me to this point where I need to knock this motherfucker out.
Bro, are you one of those? Like, if you beat the shit out of dude, you be like letting out aggression and shit. Like you were hitting a pillow with their therapist and shit.
Nah, I get
beat
my
the fuck out of
aggression out
somebody?
other ways now, but when I was a kid, yeah. Like I told the story last night. My dad told me, if you see some dude in house slippers and a white tee, he's all fuck him up now because later he's gonna have a knife or a gun and try to kill you.
Oh shit.
So walking through like second, third, fourth grade, you know, like as a kindergartner, my dad's telling me this shit. So all I wanted to do was knock motherfuckers out, bro. And the way the story goes is like my grandma went to a family reunion one time and told everybody, Bobby had a gang when he was 6 years old. No, I did not have a gang, Grandma. What I did is there was a bunch of kids that got beat up that became my friend because I could fuck up the bullies. So I was a bully buster, you know? And then I got to a point where like I just wanted to fuck a fool up, you know? That was just what I wanted to do. And it was like, it was kind of like a game where like, okay, they would jump me with like a bunch of fools later, but then I'd get this fool like at school by himself.
Do you think since I mean it sounds like you're confident in your ability to defend yourself or if you wanted to fuck someone up you could. Do you think a lot of the why you wouldn't be a hooligan is because you've seen the other fans?
Yeah.
Like you've seen your other Titan fans and you're like, you know what, I don't think I want to have that fool's back.
Yeah.
Whereas like me, I think I would be down for it because I'm like, well, fucking Raiders, we're all fucking desmadrosos and shit. So like I think I'd be all right if we all just threw down with the fucking Chargers or we all threw down with the fucking Niners and shit. We would be all right if there's enough of us, you know?
Mm-hmm. If the numbers are even.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because of my upbringing, I got so much fighting out of my way. I got it out there. I think it was a good, like growing up, going to boxing. You know, my neighbor was a boxing coach, so I could go in his garage and I could do work. And he'd set me up with fights with like kids older than me. So like I really got prolific at knocking fools out and wasting energy. You're not wasting energy and shit. So as I got older, I just kind of got tired of it because like this like who am I trying to prove I am? You know what I mean? I started like going through history class, you know, learning history and stuff of myself. I started analyzing and just like I was a different person back then because I was like so trying to win my dad's fucking appreciation. And his perspective was, we went to Jefferson Park. He knocked this dude named Debo out. And all throughout my upbringing, when I go to play basketball, this fool remembers me being the son of the guy who got beat his ass. He'd call me Centennial. He's like, "What's up, Centennial?" And like I'd see him all the time at Jefferson Park, at Patriots Park, wherever I was playing basketball. And it was just like, this dude's fucking cool. You know, he's not a bad guy. It just happened that one time, and he got socked up by my pops.
Yeah, that's rough, man. My dad never really told me to fight people. He would just say like, he really was a peaceful guy, but he was also old. He was when I was born, he was 51. So by the time like I'm like a teenager, he's kind of old, you know.
Mhm.
And so he'd always be like, just don't start fights. Just be aware that if you kill somebody sometimes, and that there's consequences for that shit too. You didn't mean to kill the guy. You're just trying to defend yourself. Just consequences. And he said also, if you could just avoid it, man, because it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
But he'd also say too, if someone came at you, not necessarily like swinging, but he's like, if someone walks up to you, that's trash. You need to throw something away. Like,
Yeah, I'm going to empty this out.
oh, yeah, you can throw it in there. What do you call it? He said if anybody came up at you like with aggression, not swinging, but just like coming at you like, oh, this motherfucker wants something, like he wants to fight or something. He's like, if they have a closed fist, hit the fucker first.
Yep.
Kind of how you said about the shirts and shit and the slip-ons and shit.
Yeah.
He's like, if that fool has a fist and he's coming at you, don't wait for that fucker to hit you. Fucking clock him.
Take flight.
Over and right. Yeah.
Because how many times you were the second one to hit and the teacher sees you or the fucking cop sees you, but you get that first hit off and no one fucking can be the wiser. Yeah, it's tactical too, bro.
So one thing I like to talk about, I like to try to sneak it into the interviews here and there. So I like to learn about someone's like philosophy or kind of
Mindset.
their mindset on certain like subjects.
Okay.
So like one thing I like to ask you, and I think is something I want to start out with everybody, is why are we here? Why do you believe we're here as human beings? Like, why do you exist?
I think we're here for a bigger purpose. And it's not for us. If you think about yourself and your purpose, you've missed the whole point, bro. The purpose and the point of this is others. What is your legacy that you're going to leave when you pass on? For me, it's the lives I've affected. It's the moments that we've shared. It's the time that we've, spent together. Memories. So really, it should be like, how many great memories can you have in this world? And how many people can you positively affect in a positive manner? I think like it's just like I always say, what energy you put in this universe, you'll get out. So if you want to put negative energy, that's what you're going to reciprocate. But at the same time, if you can make an impact, you can leave a presence, and not in wealth, but just who this person was. Like when they remember me, I want them to fucking smile and not be like, oh, fuck that guy. Fucking douchebag. Like that's it. Like, I mean, yeah, we're supposed to reproduce, all that kind of shit. I have a daughter, if you want to have kids, but not everyone needs to have kids to make an impact in this world. I mean, there's other ways, and that's the beauty of life, is we can find our own little paths and our own little journeys. But that's what it's really about, though, the journey. People always want to talk about the destination, but that's the thing Kobe would always preach about. Is like, you embrace the journey. The real joy is in the journey, the struggles, the ups and the downs. And that's the experience that I'm talking about. That's that's what it's all about right there, bud.
That's interesting you said that. That's what you just said about slowing down and enjoying the journey is like a big conversation in jiu-jitsu. Where people are in a hurry to get their stripes, a hurry to learn shit, in a hurry to be fucking Gordon Ryan or something, some like extreme fucking badass jiu-jitsu person.
Luck.
And every person I've watched starts out like that the first couple months, and then they realize the reality check of like the slow progression, and that you can only learn so much in a fucking day, and how consistent are you going to be learning that shit every day, and did you learn how to do it when everything is right and you're in that position, or did you learn the concept and you can do it from any angle? Because you know that all you're trying to do is bend that arm this way, and you can do that from just about any fucking angle. You just were taught to do it this way. But do you understand that it's not about that position is rather it's about what you're doing to that joint or what you're doing to that neck and how you can get there and how are you going to get there, you know, chess, playing a little game of chess right there.
I love how they have systems for all these different techniques and strategies.
Yeah, well, a lot of it comes from because there's rules, and so long as there's rules, there's advantages and disadvantages. Because you know, I haven't been to a kumite myself, you know, where, you know, these motherfuckers go at it with no rules and shit, and they're fucking gouging eyes and fucking biting Achilles and shit.
They punch 5 times in 1 second. Ta 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 ta.
You know, just fucking. Oh, I know a dude that he does the bare or the JC Yamas. He does the bare knuckle, and he was telling me that, you know, this guy was talking about hitting as hard as he could, hitting some foot, and he's like, nah, you can't do that shit. You hit someone as hard as you can, you're gonna break your hand.
Yep.
He's all.
People don't realize
he's
that.
all. You can hit someone as hard as you can with the glove, but even then you can hurt yourself. He's all. But if you try to hit someone as hard as you can with your bare knuckle, he's all. You're gonna fucking break something because
it's inevitable.
He's all that face is hard. He's all. I was also learning about this. I'm gonna rant. There was these pictures. You know, back in the day they showed the boxers like this and shit, and so. I've always heard people talk shit about, look how stupid these fools are. They fight like this and shit. Well, what happened was that there was different rules back then. And because we have the rules that we have now about, like, you know, safety and longevity and only so many fucking rounds. Well, back in the day, they fought 100 rounds and shit.
Yeah,
you know? So
round 25 and shit. That's crazy.
So what happened was that they didn't want to take on, like, long damage. And they also understood that they could break their fucking hands hitting someone in the face. So what would happen is that these guys wouldn't go for each other's faces. They go for body shots. And their techniques was more about trying to get a body shot, which meant that an overhand, like how we throw regular punches, wasn't really beneficial to them. According to this video, it was talking about how an underhand punch would be better because they're to the body. So that's why they fought like that. So people were talking about how motherfuckers didn't know how to fight back then, but it's like, no, based on the rules that they were fighting with, that's the best way to fight. Whereas, like, you know, if you're in Bellator or when you're in UFC, there's different rules and there's different things you can do because you would probably learn that if a fool you can knee a motherfucker in the face, but there's rules where if the fucker has his hand down, you can't do that shit.
Right.
You know, so even though that's the best move, you can't do it. So what's the second best move that's legal? Anyways, I went on a little rant about that shit. But in jiu-jitsu they do talk a lot about the journey, like don't be in a rush, you know, and it's true, man. You meet people, you learn about their lives, and just like I think like in anything when you get into it, whether it be a church, a fraternity, an occupation, it kind of you build a network of people, and if you like those people, like, you just get more into it. And jiu-jitsu is one of those where if you get into it, most of it is not just improving yourself, but you're learning about how to have character. Like you said, like, you learn that it's about the journey, and so you apply it to your life. You go like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna enjoy my days, and what I'm doing, and going to school, and, you know, not being like, oh, my life sucks because I'm eating ramen every fucking day. Rather, you're like, bro, I'm eating ramen today, bro, but when I fucking make it, you know, I'm gonna fucking do it, bro. But you're not like smoked out smoking shit trying to say that, you know, you're like actively trying to do something with your life. You're not smoked out.
Not making spread. What's the blaming on Cheetos and shit?
Do you have a I made it kind of concept in your mind of, like, not necessarily like, oh, I'm on top of the world, but more like I'm an established comedian?
Okay, that's a good question. I really haven't defined what me making it is. More so what I'm doing. You know, am I consistent? Am I continuing this journey? Like, am I in that mode where I can't settle for anything else but to be the best I possibly can? Because I'm the type of person, I'm never satisfied. So I don't think I'm going to be personally able to sit back one day unless I'm done, retired, and dead, almost like, okay, this is what I accomplished. That's not how my brain works, bro. The way I operate is constant improvement. You know, I'm a process improvement manager for work. Like, I'm a Virgo. I'm never fucking satisfied. I'm always detail oriented about things of improvement, increasing productivity, or being more efficient. So I don't think even when I do a joke, like, 2 days later, that joke's trash in my eyes. I can make it better now, you know. But as far as like sitting back and a comedy special, I would like to do a showcase with my buddies. We all do like 20, 30 minute sets, and then we put it out there, and it's a fucking success, and we go on tour. That right there would be a dream come true, and I could sit back and say we did it. That'd be an accomplished, and that's gonna happen. There's no doubt in my mind the work and effort that me and my boys put in. Like, there's no denying. There is no denying. Even you can try all you want, but like, it is in the inevitable. That work, that ethic, that time. You can't beat that. If I'm getting, it's just like Kobe. It's that Mamba mentality, man. I'm up every fucking morning putting in this work. Are you? Are you at work working, or are you working? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm working all the damn time. My brain does not stop. I'm sitting on the toilet coming up with a better joke than you right now. I'm efficient, motherfucker. I'm at it. So there's no way you're going to stop me from getting there. All you're going to see is me proceed to get better and better. And then you're going to have to come to realization, fuck, I can't stand this dude, but he's fucking good.
Have you, in the time you've done comedy and all the places you've gone, took notice of someone where you're like, either why are you wasting your time if you're not going to try? Or how can someone not improve? Like, I've seen this guy come here and he's trying, but like, why is he not improving?
I'll give you a good example. I got locked up for 3 weeks. I get locked up for 3 weeks, right? And all I do in jail is write. Dude, they fucking, on Friday, I don't know if you know on Fridays, but on Fridays, like when the commissary comes in, like everyone does like this big old thing, right? Sometimes it's Thursdays, depends on where you're at. But yeah, every fucking commissary day, they'd all have their little snacks and everything. They turn off the fucking TV for me to do fucking open mic.
That's what's up.
Yeah, bro. Like, I didn't think that shit would happen. I was just talking out loud one day, and they're like, hey, why don't you do a set for us? I was like, if we got the TV on all the day, we'll turn that shit off. And I was like, I knew that's a big deal. That's a fucking big deal.
Because there's actually rules about who holds that TV and shit. Like, who turns it on, who turns it off,
There's so many rules in there, bro. And what's crazy is I'm not like a rule guy. I don't really, but I'm me, and I think me naturally is respectful. So it's appreciated.
The Alvaro was just watching you, fool. He's like, look at this motherfucker, right?
They started calling me OG right off the bat because I'm just older, But they can tell from, I guess, what I look like or my perception or whatever that they have of me is just, I've been through it, And I'm not here to be bullshit. I'm just trying to get by, just like everybody else, man. But okay, so I was getting off topic. I come back after fucking 3 weeks, and I'm just curious. I'm like, how many of these people that I go to this open mic at Tumblr are going to say the same goddamn jokes that they were saying 3 weeks ago with nothing added, nothing changed, and the same fucking variation? And then I hear this...
Like 90%? And
then I heard this dude tell his cat effing joke and his rabbit effing joke or whatever. And I'm just like, oh my God. I don't want to call out anybody, but it's just so primitive to me to be in that same mindset and thinking like I'm doing comedy, like pronouncing to people, I'm a comedian. No, you're not. You're like a fucking rerun, bro. You're a rerun. You're doing the same bits
you're
over.
You're a rerun that nobody wants to watch. You're filling in dead air.
The number one greatest, somebody gave me like a little praise, right? The best thing I heard ever was when they said, bro, I can hear you tell the same joke, never the same. It don't matter. It may be the same premise, but you're adding something new. You got this or this angle to it, or you pivot this point. You're always trying. And I was like, that's just who I am. I love you for saying that, though, man, because I appreciate that. Because someone recognizes it.
And it's nice to have that because I've seen, again, doing shows with G, where depending on the price they paid was the way they told the joke. Not like the energy or anything like that. But there's the 2 minute
version
of the package, the bronze package.
I love it.
And then there's the triple diamond package.
Oh yeah.
Where this motherfucking joke don't end. It's 2 minutes with a tag of 2 minutes and another 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna go on my other shit, and then I'm gonna bring it back.
Yeah. That is so true.
That's a triple diamond package right there.
It's real though. When it gets to that point, it's real because like, especially with the crowds too. Like if the crowd is like bullshit, you don't deserve my grade A shit. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna give you a tidbit, like a snippet of it. You're gonna like it, and then I'm gonna keep it moving because you know what? You guys don't want to put in the work or time or the effort in the show. That's fine. I'm big on energy, bro. I'm really big on energy. When I get into a room, it doesn't even have to be a lot of people, but if the people are good people, if they came with the purpose of laughing, they came with a reason. Like I respect that, so I'm gonna give you my undivided best possible, and I'm not there to half-ass shit. You know, that's more like a petty thing that I do in a situation like somebody is wronging me or something that's going on, and I'm just like, fuck this place, you know?
Yeah.
Then I'm just like, whatever. But when it comes to the crowd, like they deserve the best of me if they choose to be participants in it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like in a mutual agreement where we're going upon. Like you came here for a reason, not because the football game's on or this. And those are tough ass fucking rooms too. Like you go to a biker bar, but that's a challenge too. Like I've never seen a room I didn't want. Didn't mean I liked it, but I want to hit every room. I want to be in every situation. You know, I want that muscle memory of knowing this motherfucker right here. This is what he wants. Yeah, I know what he wants.
Have you come across? Everybody has different names. So I've heard chuckle bitches,
Chuckle fuckers.
chuckle fuckers. Any thoughts on that subject? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Do you think that's cool? Do you think it's kind of lame? Do you like it's just another fucking genre?
I definitely think there is a version of, you know, the basketball groupies, the chuckle fuckers. That's really what they are, is they're groupies. They go to a lot of the shows, the different comics they're banging. What's crazy is like they could make a fucking showcase. They could do a festival with all the comics that they've slept with sometimes. It's crazy. And I get it. You know, hey, if that's your lane, so be it. Be a chuckle fucker. But what's crazy to me is when like it gets thrusted in front of me. Like, bro, there was this time I was watching this comic. I'm not going to use any names. But this one person was getting fingered by this other person in my line of sight of watching a comedy show. And that's where I draw the fucking line. I wanted to go over there and choke these motherfuckers out. Both of them. Both of them are in the game, been in the game for a while, whatever. And I was just like, fuck, man. I came here to watch a show, not to see your show.
Had it been two chuckle bitches, would you have been mad?
Still.
Like,
Still, bro. I didn't come here for that.
It's fucking
If I want that, I'll go on fucking, you know.
I'm the entertainment, bitch.
You're fucking with my shit. This is my sanctity right now. And it's like you're in my line of view. Like, I can't avoid it. Like, everywhere I look, it's there. Like, I had to move. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go outside. And
It's all the server and shit. It's like, man, get your finger out my fries and shit.
I went outside to smoke. And then I told my boy, I just took it, vent it out. You know, I was just like, I got to get this shit off my chest so I can fucking decompress, you know? It's best to let it out. So I did it. And I just went back and everything was fine afterwards.
The only time I took notice of it, I wasn't really considering the person a chuckle fucker. I thought it was just a person really trying to do comedy for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of, you know, whatever word gets around, people like to brag and whatever the fuck. And so I took notice that like it's one thing when like you have like the groupies, right? You want to call them groupies. It's one thing if they're groupies, but then like it's kind of weird when they end up dating one of the comics. That's fucking weird, bro.
Or they get married.
I haven't seen that yet.
No.
But
I can see. I can imagine it's happening.
I remember. I'll tell you. I'll tell you one. I don't want to give too much detail. Let me see. One of the comics had a party. I won't say what type because then I'm narrowing down. But anyways, it was just a party, right? All the comics went to hang out, and there was obviously the people who do comedy. The people who are somehow related to the people who do comedy, and then the fans, right? The people who kind of hang out and don't do comedy. They talk about wanting to do comedy someday, but they're just kind of hanging out. Anyways, the chuckle fuckers, some ways. Well, anyways, I show up. I was a little bit new, and it was like kind of one of the first times I got invited to one of the gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to this gathering, and then I'm talking to one chick. And then I'm talking to another chick, and then I'm talking to a couple other comics, and then it kind of gets to me. I'm kind of understanding that like these two people used to date, and they feel a little awkward around each other, and then this other person used to date so and so, and then that's and so I was just kind of like listening, like it's like whatever, and then this one dude is telling me, he looked kind of sad, right? I won't say his name. He just looked kind of sad, and I was like, "You all right?" It's like, and he's just drinking by himself in the kitchen and shit. And I'm just like, "All right, whatever. I'm not gonna keep trying to pep this guy up and shit. I'm just gonna go outside and have fun with the fucking games." And so I go out there, and this chick is talking to me. I never met her before, and she was like, "Hey," and she was like, "Oh, I've seen you a couple of times, blah blah, Iceberg." And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "So you're funny." I was like, "All right." And then I was like, "What are you guys doing?" Like, "Oh, we're gonna start a game of ping pong or ping pong. Was it beer pong? Beer pong. Do you want to play?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm down. Just fucking do it." And so we start playing and play a game, and then she like the night's going and stuff, and then next thing you know, this girl's telling me like random shit. Where like, where is this going? Like, I mean, is this bitch just fucking ranting, or is this bitch fucking telling me some shit where I wasn't interested anyways? But
Right.
I mean, but I was still trying to figure out like
Throwing
what's-
feelers
like,
out.
Yeah, because she was just like, I just love sucking dick, and I was just like, God, that's a. I made the same sound. And I was like, all right, tell me more. Tell me more. And so she just kind of makes those passes, you know, where she's making these comments about just, you know, needing some dick to suck and how she loves sucking dick and she could go for sucking a dick, and I'm just kind of like ignoring it, which I felt bad too because she was throwing it out there.
Yeah, really hard.
And then I was kind of like, all right, and so, and for all I knew, I'm glad I didn't know who she was or what was going on in the moment, but later on I kind of figured it out and shit. So I'm just like, oh, okay, and so, I go back inside, and the dude is still fucking sad, bro. And so all of a sudden he tells me that he liked that girl, and that he had, I guess they had broken up or something, and then like she's still hanging out, and now she's trying to suck off other comics and shit.
Yeah,
and this
that's gotta be rough.
This fool still has like feelings for her. I could tell. Obviously, he's all sad, right?
Yeah.
And so then I'm not gonna tell this fool like, bro, this bitch just trying to suck my dick outside.
Hey, bro, she really likes sucking dick, dog. She really does.
Hey, bro. The only thing it really did though was kind of like exactly what you were saying. I was just kind of like, that shit must be good. This fool's that sprung. She did something to this fool. And I was like, was it sucking his dick? You know? And so
it's really hard. It's really hard to get rid of somebody that sucks really good dick, dog. Like, they really got to piss you off.
And so like maybe like a hour later or something, you know, you get lost in the party and shit.
Yeah.
And the next time I'm like thinking like, what happened to the beer pong game? Like I thought we were still playing beer pong. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, what happened to the Wego? And then also, I shouldn't have said that. Fuck. I was like, what? Cut. So I was like, what happened to this girl? And so I put two and two together. They both got drunk enough to where like they went to the car, and like I knew they went
I'm
to the car.
gonna guess she sucked dick.
I'm gonna assume that she got to suck a dick, you know.
Yeah, man.
But I was like, she was gonna suck a dick, you know.
Yeah,
and it wasn't the one she wanted to go to, and she knew that dick, right? In my mind, I'm like, she knew that dick, and she was like, I'm still gonna try to find a better dick, like or another dick.
Comfortability.
That's sad.
You get comfortable with stuff.
She don't like him, not even his dick, and he's there in the kitchen drinking by himself, sad.
That's just crazy. Yeah, I don't get that shit, man. Like for me, like I'm so focused on where I'm going. Like even chicks that I talk to, like it has to be known. Comedy is priority. Like everything falls behind that. And if you don't accept that, tough shit. I really don't give a fuck, you know. And I think that's why me being single for so long really kind of helps me being in the comedy scene, because I'm so not focused on, like, chicks are all over the place. Like my homegirl was telling me, she's like, all these beautiful women are at your show. Look at this, da da da. And I'm just like, they're homies. They're friends. They're supporters, really. Yeah. Do I want to fuck all my supporters and ruin the support? Kind of tainted if you do that. And one of the comics that I met in the very beginning, it was so funny. This is a great story of this guy. He's literally telling me how he's on Plenty of Fish and he's promoting his comedy, right? And he's meeting all these chicks and he's banging all these chicks that go to his show. But it's a bad thing because then the other chick goes to the show and then all this drama unfolds. And as he's telling me, this chick walks up to our table and is like, why haven't you responded to my text? And I was like, oh shit, like real time right here. I was seeing experience, you know? And I was like, at that point, I was like, there's no way. There's no way, not with a 10-foot pole, would I get that close. You know, I want to keep my sanctity pure right now. So if it's something outside of that area vicinity, great. If it's something I can like get a little change from my what I'm doing to get away from things like decompress, great. I love going on trips out of town. I love going places.
I like your Trump pose right there. Fool.
But
The power stance.
But yeah, this is my back starting to hurt, so I'm starting. Need more support.
Elbow my
It's
shit
all
right now.
good. But
we'll start wrapping up then. Also, so we can take a little break.
Mm.
Any shows coming up? Anything you want to promote? Obviously, there's the comedy clubs that we have.
yeah. So first and foremost, Jokes on You every Monday. It is a roast battle setting. The best thing about it is anyone can come in and roast. So like your mom and your dad, if they had beef, they could come and roast each other. We have people that can help write. And we have tons of comics that are at our disposal if need be. But I could just imagine, like, we had a couple come in, a boyfriend and girlfriend. And some of them are, they're struggling comics. So it really brought a different feel to it. So I definitely like how we're doing a DeSouza Mero style, where we show a video clip in the beginning and we talk shit and we have an audience microphone so the audience can get involved. Really helps them get their heckling out of the way before the show starts, I think.
Yeah.
So they get all that shit out there, and then we're like, okay, shut the fuck up now. And then we do the improv mic, so you have over 100 suggestions that come up on the screen. We have a green screen. We can really record. Some pretty cool stuff we're doing there. And eventually, like, it's like you were saying earlier, Mondays is like one of the slowest days I ever hear from all the clubs. Well, we're developing this Monday show that's live. And eventually it's going to be on Patreon. It's going to be a big thing, I could tell. So we got Jokes on You every Monday. Of course, you got the open mics at the Well. You have Sundays like today, try it out. You have the Thursday Hallmark, and then you got the Taco Tuesday. Tamblers on Wednesdays. But as far as shows goes, I know I got some coming up in Delano. I'll be there. And I also have a Hanford show on the November 2nd.
Hanford, is that the something line? The
Trent
station?
Babb stuff. Yeah,
The bass line or something?
I'm not sure, but I know I got the
Trent Babb. That's what you said.
Yeah, that's the second Trent Babb show in Hanford.
I did a writing session with that fool one day. We were chilling at my apartment, and he was like, has this, I forgot what the setup was, but it was pretty much like being a white guy dealing with Hispanics and shit. So I was like, what's like the go-to, I caramba or some bullshit, like, I didn't want him to do that one. So I was like, he was like, hey man, like, what would be a good tag right there? And I was like, fucking, you could always say like if they're mocking you, pendejo. That's usually a common thing that we do to people. We call them pendejos and shit, or pelon, or so we call them something white.
Slang.
Something that they're not really gonna know that we're making fun of them or some shit, right? At first. And so I think the concept was like stupid or something. So I was like, pendejo, pinche pendejo or something. So he's like, oh, okay, pinche pendejo. I was like, okay. Well, one of the other comics had a joke where his punchline was pinche pendejos or something. And so I guess these two start going, this motherfucker stole my joke.
Oh, my God.
And then so I was like, nah, you can just have the same tagline, bro. You don't have the same joke. It's just the tagline. But that tagline is a cultural tagline. It's
like,
not,
who doesn't?
You don't own pinche
the word.
pendejo,
You
like
own
it's
the word.
a phrase. We say it all the time. I kind of felt that about when I started doing comedy. I felt George Lopez kind of did that to everybody, kind of where he took these tags that were just common amongst our culture that we use all the time to laugh about it. And now if you use it, people think you're fucking doing his jokes. And you're like, nah, man, I've been hearing this shit since I was a kid. It's just, it's like crazy. Saying, it's like him owning Pepito. It's like if he goes and tells a Pepito joke and now you're like, oh, I'm gonna tell a Pepito joke, and they're like, oh, you stole that shit from George Lopez. It's like, nah, that shit's been going on forever.
I do use a lot of slang, and it's just stuff that you grow up with, like you said. Last night when I said Spencer, like dispensa, everybody knows that shit in the culture, but when you hear it in that format, it's like fucking hilarious. No mames, people say that shit. I say tu sabes, because I use it in that form when I'm using it, and then everyone starts chuckling. It's just something that it feels at home, I think, too. Like we can relate to that. It's that connective tissue I talk about. And
also those words, because those words have, or those phrases have meaning to us. you can distinguish where someone's from, even though you're speaking the same language. Like
Mm.
if someone says "vale," like I know he ain't from Mexicali. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
not, he's not even from Tijuana. Like he's fucking Sonora or like probably even more south. You know?
Mad regional shit, yo. That's crazy about our culture like that too. And that's why, you know, when you go to jail,
I say Cubo. I say Cubo, and then people know that more as like California,
mm,
Tijuana. Um, they say that. Or arre. I say arre too. When someone says something to me, but instead of saying okay or si, I'll be like, arre pues.
mhm.
Arre. And then when I say arre, people know that I have family from TJ. Or somehow I'm connected to people from southern California.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so it's just like you catch those things, or you even know if someone's Puerto Rican or Brazilian or something from like little subtle words and shit, or how they say something.
Yeah, that shit is mad regional. I didn't realize it. You know what? When you go to jail, the first thing they ask you, are you a homie or you a paisa?
Oh shit.
So I'm a homie. And then the second thing they ask you is, what part of Mexico is your family from? That's literally the next fucking question. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't fucking know. I'm fucking
Yeah, that's
whitewashed.
crazy.
Yeah, but that's how deep it is because they want to know what region. Why? Because cartels. Think about
Wow. Yeah, because the Mexican mafia, and so it's just all connected. Yeah, I could see that. That's crazy,
it.
bro.
Yeah, dog.
Now, in prison, would you shank a fool for if they told you like, hey, bro, you gotta go shank this one?
The thing is about like that environment is you just become a different person. You disconnect to who you really are. And in order
You're
to
just
survive,
playing the game and surviving.
in order to survive, you got to do what you got to do. And I have no problem fucking a fool up for the right
I thought you were
reason.
gonna say just fucking fools.
No.
I'll fuck a fool, right?
hey, an asshole's the same color in the dark, man. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
shit.
It's a bad joke, I tell.
Hey, they all cry the same.
Everyone's got a little Popeye in them.
Oh shit.
Give me some chon chon. Nah, man.
I just to go off a little bit on that. Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but one of the things that I talk about growing up is just how culturally even the language changes as we get older. But I remember when I was a kid, I remember kids would tell each other to suck each other's dicks, like, "Oh, fucking yeah, fucking suck my dick" or shit. And I always thought it was kind of weird. I was like, "That's a little gay. Like, why would you tell a dude to suck your dick?" So I never really used it. I never, unless it was like, it was priceless at the moment to say some fucking shit like that.
Comedic timing.
Yeah, some comedic timing on that.
Mhm.
Then, but other than that, I was just like, that's just fucking. This sounds gay, man.
Well, that's actually regional. You know that? That's
Where?
New York based.
Is it?
Yeah, so New York and Boston, they suck my fucking dick, and it becomes like a verb, a pronoun, an adjective. They use it in different formats, like that "your" that I do.
Yeah.
Your is a hello in New York. So every time when I go up on the mic, I give a little shout out to that shit because of the Jesus Mero show. They go "your," and that's kind of become my ad lib now. Like people know that. That and fucking I digress. I say that shit a lot.
I forgot what the point of what I was saying. What was I saying? I forgot what the fuck I said when you said what you said.
Oh man, I'm fucking high.
Are you? You've been hitting that shit, bro.
Yeah,
Um,
caught the vapors.
we're going off on. Goddamn.
Oh, gay shit and fucking suck my dick.
Oh yeah, people saying. So another thing too was like I remember, it was even in music. It did not age well, bro. I remember I want to say it's like an NWA song, and I want to say it's Nate Dogg or Dre, where they're like, "I even made him suck my dick, and he tried to make me nut, but I ain't gay," or some shit like that. And I was like, that's hella gay. I remember even hearing it, and I was like, there's nothing gangster about that shit, bro. Like, that's hella gay.
Dude, I can always go back to the day when I heard Eazy-E talk about transvestites for the first time. Like, that was so eye-opening. I pulled down the panties and the
Yeah.
bitch had a dick.
Bigger than mine or some shit.
Oh,
right?
my
Yeah.
God, like, It was so mind-blowing at that point because I really didn't know anything as a kid.
What did he say he did? Did he say
He was
killed
doing a
the
bank
bitch?
robbery. He was doing a bank robbery, and then he pulled his chick to the side that what you thought was a bitch was nothing but a man. Oh, my God. That was so fucking hard. But it was like, it was done artistically.
Yeah.
So that's why it impacted me so much. And then I realized, like, oh shit, there's transgender people. I didn't fucking know. Thank you, Eazy-E, for making me more knowledgeable, dog. Who would have thought a
Look
fucking
at- now
hood
you know
dude,
Rainbow and shit.
crack fucking dealer is gonna introduce a kid to fucking day? That's being woke, if I ever heard.
My favorite bank robbery rap song is by Tech Nine.
Mm.
He has one where he's talking to the teller, and then he starts making. She's like, "Hey, you're Tech Nine. He's like, I know you from high school. You used to make beats and shit. Come on, do it for me." He's like, "Nah, nah, nah, not right now, man. I'm trying to do this." She's like, "Come on, man, come on." He's like, all right, man. He's like, tuk, 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 tuk. He's like making his beat, and then he's like, he's all, I'm here to rob the bank and blah blah blah.
You asked for
like,
it.
like, he got a baton, but I got a shotgun and some shit like. I was like, oh shit.
That's just hard.
Yeah, he went hard. Tech Nine. I fuck, bro. I was doing a comedy show at Jerry's Pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And Corina, the owner, and her husband's name is escaping me because I didn't have to say his name so many times. But Corina, I remember her name. She's the owner, the female owner. She gave me some free tickets to. I want to say it was Tech Nine. Was it Tech Nine or was it Andre Nicotine? No, I want to say it's Tech Nine. Tech Nine, and I was like, fuck yeah, I want to go see that shit. And so, I'm so old, bro. I'm so old. I used to go to I never went to concerts. I would go to like maybe like a show or something, but not like a full blown promoted shit, you know, like a concert. And so I'm like, oh, tickets say fucking 10. I'm gonna be there. I show up at fucking 9:30. Next, you know, I'm fucking drunk, bro, because I've been drinking by myself. It's about to be 11 and shit, and this fool still ain't there.
Oh, they show up late, mad late.
Oh, bro, I was like buzzed, and I was like, you know what? I'm fucking buzzed, and like I don't think this was showing up. And they're like, his RV's outside. I was like, when is he getting down? They're like, I don't know. Like I think
feel like it.
I think what it was is they were trying to buy some time or some shit, or maybe like they were short cash. Not Jerry's Pizza, but the people putting on the show.
The promoters.
Yeah, the promoters.
It's the number one reason.
And so like so we were just kind of like waiting, and I got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I'm buzzed. I'm just gonna get a fucking Uber, go home. So I went home. I missed the fucking show, bro. And it was probably gonna be the only time I had a chance to see Tech Nine because I ain't paying for no tickets. I never paid to see nobody. Even the comedy shows, I go to most of the comedy shows because I know I can get in for free.
Yeah, no shit, huh? Free. Yep. Man, I went
bro,
to.
Have you ever been to a comedy? I'm gonna rant a little bit on this. Have you ever been somewhere, bro, and like they don't know you're a comic? Not like out of town. I'm talking about like local, bro.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah. Oh man, I felt so embarrassed the other day. I had that happen to me where,
I'm not big enough to be noticeable.
I was going to this show with another comedian, right? So we were always going to it, traveling to it, and checking it out here and there. And so one day, I went by myself. And so when I went by myself, I went to go see the show because the person putting on the show, the promoter, wanted me to see the show. And so I was like, all right. And so I show up, and the person in the front, I want to say, like, I never talked to them, but they see me all the time. And so when I walked in there, I walked up, like, trying to walk in. She goes, it's going to be $20. And I was like, huh? She goes, it's going to be $20 to get in to see the show. It's $20. And I was like, give me a minute, man. Bro, I was about to leave. I literally was calling the Uber when the promoter fucking was like, hey, iceberg. He's like, hey, let him in. Just let him in.
Yeah.
But I was about to leave, fool.
Dude, I was just at a comedy
And
club.
it wasn't like, oh, you should know who I am.
Right.
It was more like, I frequent the place. Like, you were being a dick. You had to be being a dick. You had to have done that on purpose because I know that person doesn't like the other comic that I was like visiting with, and I just happened to be by myself. So I think she associated me with him rather than going like, "Hey, I think the promoter. You should be worried about the promoter. What the promoter thinks. The guy wants me to be here. Like he asked me to be here. So like, whatever. Like, what does it matter to you? You know, we don't charge comics. You know, we don't. We just don't do it. We don't charge each other.
Yeah.
I don't know how that started, but I just always knew it was a rule, and I'm cool with it.
I'll give you an example. I go to Tumblr like a lot for the comedy. And like the same dude helps me like all the time. And I've told him numerous times I do the comedy and open mic. But like it never fails. He'll just be like, oh, what are you here for? What are you guys up to? You getting to check out the comedy show? Like, you motherfucker. He told me, I was like, I see you all the time. But it's all good. That's just how it is. You know, I was at a comedy club down in LA, and I had told the bartender, like, I'm on the show. I told the manager that I was on the show. And I had to repeat myself over and over, like in these different circumstances, like they were trying to get us in or this and that. The guy who I was needing to talk to was in there. I was just going to go see him real quick. And I just had to keep telling it, I'm a comic. It's like, it was almost like stupid. Like, I'm the comic. Like, it was so prevalent. Like, I'm nobody, you know? and it's humbling. But actually, that's what I want it to be. I don't want nobody to know me, because when it does happen, it's gonna fucking impact even more. That's that's the shit that drives me. Like, I want people not to know me, so like one day they're like, oh, I know this motherfucker, because it's gonna change. With the work.
Everything with work, man.
Yes, sir.
And serious commitment, not just like, like, oh, if I just keep going up to these open mics, I'm gonna get better. It's like, no,
Mm-mm.
you have to work on your time. You have to, I mean, you think it's funny, but it's not working out, bro. Just try something else. I think the hardest, another observation that I made about comics, and I don't really go around telling comics this, but it is something that I'll talk about on the podcast, I guess, is my observation of people who don't do new material, all alcoholics, fool. Hard alcoholics.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's just
On the road, all the people that I was like, fuck, this fool is a hard drunk. Like, I knew they were fucked up before they went up, or I knew they were fucked up right after they went up, or that they gotta take shots. You'll see people, they'll take a shot here and there, and it's more for their fucking nerves and shit, because they're alcoholics and they gotta have a drink and shit.
yeah.
And the first fucking pattern that I noticed was like, they all, every time I see them, it's the same set.
Mm-hmm.
Same set.
Yeah.
Been telling those jokes for, who knows, 30, 40, 10 years.
I had to get told to stop doing new material, to focus on a type 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I respected that conversation because he was right. I'm so hell-bent on having new shit each week. Dude, like every show, every open mic I would go to, I'd try to have something new. But it was just natural, because throughout the day, my brain's always working. I see something funny in an angle I want to touch. I see something in current events. Here I go. Let me talk about this. I was Mr. Current Event for a long time, where I just challenged myself. Something new, I was just going to throw in the fucking set. Something current, boom. Just to test myself, just to, to flex that muscle, to get that workout in. And I don't think a lot of dudes think like that. You know what I mean? Like they have a few things that they're working on. They want to perfect it. That's great. I can do that too. But then on top of that, I can add something at the end or the beginning or in the middle that I've been trying to work out. I got something new on the table. I always would do that, like either in the beginning, the middle, or the end. I'll add a new topic or a new something that I'm working on. I have to. It's just the way my brain works. Like, I'm always trying to find that next best thing. And I have these great bits, but what's going to be the next one? Until I go through this process of, figuring it out, there's some things that I think are going to be great. And I try so hard to make it good, and it's just fucking trash. And then that's the hardest thing I think for comics to do, that I notice, is like, let that bit go, bro. Let it go. Why is it after 3 weeks of me being in jail, you're still doing the same tags, the same punch, and it's still not hitting? Like, get the point.
All right, just because it's not that you touch on the subject, it's more just the way you express your frustration with it that I related to. Have you ever watched a comic do his set with the fucking the patrons of the fucking place, like people who just came to fucking eat,
Mm-hmm.
and just there happens to be a fucking open mic, and they didn't even catch the open mic, but people were just still hanging out afterwards because you're not allowed to go anywhere else. And so, you ever caught someone doing their set?
Yeah.
Does it bug you, or you're just kind of like, it's whatever? To me, it kind of came off as is there a genuine conversation with this motherfucker? Because it just seems like everything's just timing to throw in one of their bits. Fool.
I think it was just being corny at the time, because they were just implementing it because at the time it kind of made sense. But I was just like, bro, I'm good. It wasn't funny in real life. It's not funny on stage.
Fuck, bro. What's the harshest thing you've heard as a comic?
The harshest thing I've heard as a comic. Oh, your jokes aren't funny.
Oh, man.
But she was just being petty because I pissed her off. So I could accept that.
I think for me, it was I went to I had problems with the old heads, right, for a little bit. And then I got this random job, and it kind of worked out because I was just like, well, fuck, I'm banned from all the mics, and not all the mics, but definitely I was banned from the consistent mics, I would say. And so I happened to get this job. I got into it, didn't really care. So I was like, whatever. But one day I was like, I was feeling that itch, that like that I had when I first started, and I was like, fuck, I want to go to a fucking mic and try some jokes, you know. I'm like, fuck, I fucking miss doing this shit. And so I was like, nah, I'm busy, and so I wouldn't go, you know. And then I get that fucking itch. I was like, I gotta fucking go. I gotta check out a mic. So I go to a mic, bro. I want to say like I would go like maybe every 3 months, right? I want to say like every fucking mic I went to, bro. Some random person would be like, oh yeah, you're Iceberg. Yeah, I heard about you. And it was never like, it never felt good, you know. So I was always like, and I remember like every time I'd go and I was like, man, it fucked up the mood. It fucked up my mood so much, bro. It wouldn't fuck up my comedy, but it just fucked up my mood because I was like, man, I'll see a couple of the guys, see who's kind of let shit fucking, you know, go, moved on with their life about bullshit, you know. So I was like, and then I was like, so what I would do after that was I would still go to the mics, but I just wouldn't talk to anybody, bro. I'd just be like, I don't want nobody saying some fucking shit that throws me off and shit. So I was just kind of chill in the back. But then that kind of backfired. I'm ranting now, but it kind of backfired because then people thought I was stuck up and like not wanting to fucking talk to people and shit like that.
Like you're isolating yourself.
But I was like, nah, I'm just kind of tired of like these new people who don't know me saying like fucking offhand comments about something someone else fucking told me.
Yeah,
you know?
they don't even know.
Someone who has problems, you know, fucking saying running their mouth.
Yeah, I give everyone their own opportunity to fuck me over. You know, if you fuck me over, okay, cool. Now I know where we stand. But like I'm all about like even just in general, just giving people, you know, opportunity to be themselves.
And most people are, bro. I think you know, with shit in San Francisco, everybody being all fucking negative and shit. I'll tell you, man. For the most part, if you're like you said earlier, if you're a positive person, that shit just sucks people in. And sometimes it does suck in people who prey on good people. But for the most part, you meet cool people, bro. You meet people who are genuine friends, or people who not necessarily your friends, but they're people you can hang out with and feel comfortable. They're not gonna be like trying to fucking leave you with a tab or steal your shit in your house, or you know, like just not be fucking weirdos and shit. You know, it's just, and there's so much fucking weirdos in entertainment, bro. So many fucking weirdos. Like, yeah. What's the conclusion of our conversation here?
The end game.
I think well, we can recap on being passionate about something and wanting to progress in it. Is not, there's no really there's no reason to focus on the success itself, but rather the process of feeling successful and getting to be, you know, comfortable, bro. I think those are some of the things that, and that's, I don't think something that, I mean, I think I would say some people are genuinely born like that. People who just understand, you know, enjoy the journey, you know. And I think for other people, like, it took something in their life to go, fuck, I'm doing it wrong. You know, I'm doing it wrong. I'm fucking being negative. I'm fucking, I'm not helping myself thinking like this, you know, and I should, like in that situation, I should be so fucking proud of how random this all is. Yeah. And in all the randomness, like, it turned out good for you, because there's plenty of people who shit don't turn out. And they're good people, you know, they just trust the wrong person, get taken advantage of, and their ability to recover, because people don't just get jacked for their iPhones and shit. You know, people get jacked for the money they saved to start a business, bro. Yeah. You know, the fucking money they inherited. You know, people get fucked, bro.
And you invest all your apples into one basket
because you trusted somebody. Yeah, they knew how to fucking get to you. They knew how to take it from you.
That's why I have to invest in myself. There's no better bet than on what I'm about to do. To me, like, I could invest in crypto up the yin yang. I invest in all these stocks and bonds, but really, the more I invest in me, my time, my energy, what I have to offer to this world, that's the real treasure.
That's what's up. Well, that was Chilling with the Iceberg. Want to thank my guest, Bobb Duran, and what was it? Bobby D's?
Bobb D's.
Bobb D's.
You can imagine my rap name. It was Bobb D's Nuts. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Bob on D's. There was so many analogies I'd use. It was funny.
We touched on a lot of subjects, and like I like to tell everybody, and I hope at this point, I think this would be episode around 15 or 16. I hope everybody understands that there's no point to this fucking show. There's just random thoughts. You know, we have good interviews, we have bad interviews, we have fucking people entertained, we have comical conversations, we have emotional conversations. I mean, it's all over the place, man. And I thank you for coming here.
Appreciate it.
I hope to have more of the comics come in and enjoy it and get to know me and not just go like, hey, you're iceberg, man. You're like, yeah, I heard about you. And more be like, hey, bro, like I think if you got to meet me,
Yeah.
you would know why people don't like me, and it's not because I'm an asshole.
There's so much more to it.
All right, bro. Thank everybody. You guys have a good night.
All right,
man.
guys.